So today I've got a Rabanne review. I've got their new concealer and I've picked up two of their new cream blush duos, which really do look quite fabulous. And I've also got one of their eyeshadow palettes from last year, so you can just see a full face pretty much of Rabanne. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm 47. I'm not a professional, just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I like to review new products, show you some of my favourite looks, and share any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this, please do like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you're already subscribed, then thank you so much for returning. I appreciate every single one of you very, very much. And if you comment below, I do love to get chatting to you. I really do. It's my favourite part of doing this. It really is. So hopefully we can get to know each other in the comments section and talk about everything in this video. And my skin tone, if that's helpful to you, I've got fair to light skin with neutral, mostly neutral anyway, but slightly cooling undertones. And I've got a combination skin with mostly dry but a slightly oily T-zone. Anyway, let's get on with this video. So I am currently wearing this concealer because yesterday I tried it for the first time and I did a wear test. So I'm now going to show you those clips. So here they are. So here is the Rabanne concealer. This comes in 15 shades. It's £28, currently only available exclusively from Selfridges. I don't know when it's launching elsewhere at the moment. I will let you know on my community page if I hear anything about when all of these Rabanne products are launching elsewhere. So there's very little information on this concealer actually. I've taken it from the Selfridges website and all it tells me, it's suitable for all skin types. It's got avocado oil in to help moisturize and protect you from UV rays. It also has hyaluronic acid for the hydration. It's vegan, you get 10 millilitres and this is made in Italy. And it says use the soft flexible applicator to apply 3 to 4 dots of the formula to your under eye area, starting from inner corner, just giving you instructions. So very little information. So this is obviously packed with skincare and not a huge amount of shades. So it comes in this tube and I've picked up shade 3, don't know if I've already said that. So it's got a very sort of thin doe foot there, quite flat, quite a different sort of shape that. So let's just try this on. So I'm going to put some there, and a little bit there. I'm not doing 3 dots like it said. It's applying in a very, it's not thick at all. It's very sort of, not runny, but not thick, sorry. I'm not finding the right words here, am I? So I would put this somewhere between a liquid and a cream. It's not quite a sort of runny liquid and it's not a thick cream. Gosh, that went in exceptionally easily, didn't it? Look at that. It's just disappeared. I'm not having to really do anything at all. God, I really like that. No sign of anything in my lines either. This is definitely not giving full coverage. It's giving the sort of coverage I absolutely love though. I really love a concealer that just blends in naturally like this because I know that means it's not going to sit in my lines, which it's not doing in any way at all. Oh, I really like this. It's covered the purple on my eyes sufficiently for me. That is sitting absolutely beautifully. Let me do a close-up for you. So there it is, a bit more close-up. I really like that. Now, I've only picked up this one shade, but I do think it's light enough for me to use in brightening areas. So I will apply my bronze and my contour, and I'll come back and show you how it works for that. So I've gone off and done my contour and the concealer is still sitting very nicely, ever so slightly collecting into these lines here, the two worst lines on my whole face. I would expect that, but I will be pressing into it with a sponge and setting it. But now I'm going to try it. I think it is going to be the right sort of shade for me to put in all the areas that I like to brighten. So I'm going to see how it sits. Very, very lightweight, very pleasant actually. So now just tapping this in with my BK 109 brush, it literally just melts straight in. It's very, very lightweight. I definitely wouldn't buy this if you're looking for full coverage. If you're looking for a very light, natural concealer that just gets absorbed into your skin very, very quickly, then this could be the one. Although on my chin, I feel like it might have just slightly lifted my foundation. That's the problem when things are too liquidy. I found this with the Makeup by Mario liquid bronzer, which I love, but on top of certain foundations, it does seem to lift it. I haven't done that anywhere else, so I don't know if that's just my chin being a bit difficult. I'll see what the rest looks like. So I'm going to use my Givenchy trusty Prisme Libre powder. I want to use a powder I know and trust. So I've patted in with a sponge now so that there's nothing showing at all in this trouble zone, and I'll just set it here. That is looking really good. And set the rest of my T-zone. So I've just zoomed you in so you can see how this is looking underneath the eyes and the T-zone and everywhere actually, because I've put it into all those brightening areas. Sitting very, very nicely. I really do like it. I think this is definitely one to go for if you're going for a very natural look. It's beautiful. It's very good on mature skin. It's definitely not creasing. It's super easy to apply. One of the easiest ones ever. My skin just went in very, very nicely. So definitely not a full coverage and definitely very easy. So I would use this one on a no makeup sort of look, which is, I say those words, it's never no makeup. I mean a light natural makeup day. So when I'm going for, say, a skin tint and I don't want to have an awful lot of makeup, this is the sort of thing I love. But to be honest, I don't like to use a lot of concealer anyway. I don't look for full coverage. So for me, it would actually suit me for all looks. But maybe in your case, if you like to have really full coverage on some days, but you're happy to have light coverage on others, this would be a great option for that anyway. So it's a thumbs up for the concealer. Very, very impressed with it actually. So this is an 8-hour check-in for the Rabanne concealer. It's worn really, really well. I'm very happy with it. If you look at it from certainly this distance, I don't think you'll see any difference from when I very first applied it. So really, really pleased with it. I'll just zoom you in so you can see more. So if you look underneath my eyes, certainly in the corner here, there is a little bit of caking, but at the same time my eyeshadows have moved around in that area, so this is probably the worst part of my entire face for having creasing, caking, movement of product. So I would say it's extremely normal what I'm experiencing there, but it's stayed everywhere else. On the whole of my face, it's sat really, really nicely. I don't think it's changed at all, so I think this has got excellent longevity. I've got no issues with it at all. So you can definitely see some of the darkness here though in the corner of my eye. So probably you need a bit of a corrector with this one because it doesn't give you enough of that sort of coverage. So for me personally, I'm not that bothered about a little bit of darkness being visible, but if you are, then maybe if you were to try this one, I would go with a corrector in that area first. But on the whole, for what it is, for what it promises, I think it does exactly what it should do, which is very hydrating, very complementary to my very mature, I say very mature, but I am nearly 50 and this part of my skin is probably the most problematic and it's really got a lot worse in the last few years. So my worst problem zone is taking this very, very well, better than it does with a lot of concealers. So but one tip though is to keep this area hydrated. I work really hard on my skincare. I wear skincare at night, sometimes even 2 different eye creams at night layered on top of each other. I do use a lot of devices to really look after my skin, and in the morning I always put an eye cream before I start. Sometimes I put 2. I quite often use the vitamin C under eye cream followed by my Delilah eye primer. So I've got a lot of products already there to really moisturize the area, and then I'm using a very moisturizing concealer. And for me, with maturing skin, I find that a winning combination. So if you did get something like this, or if you're having trouble with other concealers like this, that would be my best tip for you, to just hydrate as much as possible. Give it at least 5 minutes before applying each product as well, so that it's got time to absorb. But that is definitely key for me. But yeah, really happy with this, and it's going to go into my regular rotation with my Danessa Myricks. So those are 2 winners for me this year. Really, really impressed with this, even though it's only been 1 day. I'll continue to use this all week, and I can give you an update at the end of the month on this one, but very happy with it. And on another note, if you watched me review the IT Cosmetics CC Natural Matte Foundation recently, I have now got my correct shade and I'm wearing it today. And just so you can see, because I didn't film my check-in, this gives you an 8-hour check-in of this foundation if you're curious. And it hasn't even moved from my chin, which if you know me well, I'm not known for being very tidy with my eating when it comes to spilling drinks and food down my face. So this has survived lunch, breakfast, coffees, fizzy drinks, water, very, very well. Look at my chin. You can't see my redness. There's no caking. It's not settling into lines particularly. Very, very, very happy with this foundation. Anyway, just wanted to quickly mention that in case you're curious. So as you can see, I'm a huge fan of the concealer, and today for the second time, I was really impressed with the way this went in, honestly. Probably one of the easiest concealers I've ever tried, really, really is. So if that's the sort of coverage you like, I think you'll love it. So very happy. I'm going to continue to use this one and update you as I said. So onto the eyes. So I'm just going to quickly show you this palette, which was released last year when Rabanne very first launched their makeup range. So this one is called Paradise Lost Then Found, and in this there are 3 metallics and 1 matte. This is the matte here. It's got a good stand-up mirror, and I really do like the packaging with Rabanne. A bit hard to avoid all the fingerprints, so apologies there. So I'm going to start this look now by putting the matte into my crease using my BK Beauty 202. So my eyes are already powdered and I've got the concealer, the Rabanne concealer. I'm using the Sonia G Pencil Pro brush for this, which is really good for this job. And then I'm going to take this green metallic over most of the lid. So this is a really pretty shade, very easy to apply as well. And then I'm going to take this shade here in the inner corner. Now this one has quite an interesting sort of shift in it. Still see a green in it, but it's also got a bit of gold in it. So it's a duochrome, probably I'd describe it as, rather than multi. So I'm going to use my BK Beauty 207 and I'm going to pop this in the inner corner and then bring it to meet the green here. And using my Charlotte Tilbury liner pen, going back into that deep matte to finish a bit of a line here. You can see how this matte serves as a really deep shade as well as quite a light matte once it's been brushed out with a fluffy brush. So it's a really good versatile matte, this. Just put 1 dot of the Rabanne concealer either side so I can sharpen up the edge of the wing there. And then using the Zoeva 238 brush, I'm going to take that there and then just brush that in. And I'm softening the edge of the wing because I don't like it to look too sharp and to come out too much. I don't think it suits me. I like it to look softer. And I found a mascara I actually had from Rabanne as a gift with purchase last year, and I don't think I've even tried this. So this is called the Famous Mascara in Deep Black. So I'm just going to give this a go. Obviously this is just a small sort of travel size. So there's the brush on this. So let's see what this mascara is like on my tiny little lashes, if it can give them a bit of length. So that's how it's looking with 1 coat. You can see from the side, if I look down and then up, can you see the difference? It's not giving me masses of length, but it's giving me quite a natural finish, which I do like. But I will, at the end of the video, probably put another coat on. Anyway, I'll just do the other side. So there is my finished look with just 1 coat of that mascara and this beautiful eyeshadow palette. I do love this one. And I do love a green. If you know me and you watch my channel, you will know why I chose this colour story. Anyway, let's move on to these brand new duo blushes. So I've picked up these 2 shades and here's a quick video of me swatching these for you. called the Mini Blushy Blush Palettes. And actually it says something different on the back to what it actually says on the website. It says that these are a balm to skin tinted blush. That's all it says. Made in Italy. And you get, how many 2.4 grams of product in these. And that is per blush, by the way, not in total. So the total is 5.5 grams, it says. Well, it says 5.5 on the Selfridges app. So two different versions there of the weight. But anyway, let's just ignore that. So on the Selfridges app, which is the only place it's available at the moment that I'm aware of, it was exclusively available via Selfridges. And on the app, it's very, very limited information about this. It just says that it's got shea butter and a rich pigment and it's vegan, and that is about it. That's all it gave me. So these cost £27 and there's 5 different duos to choose from, although I've just looked on the site now and it's already saying some of them are out of stock, I'm afraid. Actually all of them are out of stock apart from Summer Fling. So these have obviously gone out like hotcakes, but I'm sure they will be restocked on the Selfridges app and elsewhere, because I'm sure they'll be launching elsewhere. And if I hear anything, I will post on my community page when they do. So sorry if you haven't bought these and you want to get these straight away, but hopefully they will be restocked. And like I said, I'm sure they will be. So here's the packaging. Very, very cute, very neat, very sweet sort of packaging, isn't it? Again, we've got a nice stand-up mirror. And here are the 2 shades if we're going to start with this one. Now look, from swatching this really is very, very pigmented. So this one is called the Incompatibles. So I'm going to use my 109 brush from BK Beauty and I'm just going to dab in once. Can you see I've already got quite a bit of pink on the back of there. And I'm going to now take this. Well, that's just given me a nice amount. But I did swirl around with this and play with it last night before I went to bed, before I took my makeup off, and I got a huge amount of pigment on my face. So that's definitely not something I would personally be looking for. So I'm going to show you how this sort of gradually builds up. I've got no powder at the moment here, so this is going directly onto cream. Last night when I tried it and got a lot of pigment, I was using it directly on top of powder, which always seems to give an awful lot more pigment. So I'm not swiping, like I said, I'm just dabbing because I really want to build this up gradually. It blends in extremely easily. And the one thing I noticed last night is you just don't seem to feel it on the skin almost instantly. So it is a cream, but it's definitely one of these ones that dries down very quickly. Might mean that you don't have an awful lot of time, but I'm certainly not struggling to blend this out. So that's given me a really nice natural sort of flush. I will take a little bit more. When I put that very first dab on, it gives you an idea of how built up this could be if you wanted it to be super pink. So if I just do that once more, because then I think that would be enough for my skin tone. So if I put that dab there, that gives you an idea of the sort of level of pigment you could have all over. Really is very, very, very easy. Beautiful formula. I honestly don't think I've tried a better formula than this for working in. Very, very user-friendly. It's got a beautiful finish. Very natural. It's given me a lovely natural flush and it just blends in with my makeup and into my skin perfectly. And it also did this yesterday on top of powder, which I will show you at the end. So this is working very, very nicely. Very impressed. So now I'm going to go in with this one. So this one does not have a lot of pigment, so I can swipe on this one. And this is more of a shimmer. Now this is actually called the Incompatibles. I don't know if that's because you'd think you'd never put these two together, but it is giving a sort of brown shimmer, and it doesn't come up as brown at all. It looks brown shimmer in the pan, but when you're putting it on, it just sort of slightly deepens the pink, I think, doesn't it? And gives a little bit of a shimmer. I think I can afford to go a bit more. I think this was more visible for me last night when I tried it on top of powder. So at the moment, I think that's just giving me a nice highlight. So I really like that. You can definitely see it slightly changed the pink though. So it's a slightly less deep pink. Well, not deep. It's slightly giving it a softer edge, I think. What do you think? I really like it actually, I really do. I'll leave it like that, but I will powder on top and show you how it sits on powder. So I'll just clean off my 109 brush and I'll be going in next with Feel the Heat. The shimmer sort of shade in this one does look very similar. Very similar. I've swatched them next to each other. I can show you actually if you like. So again, I'm going to go in very carefully. So this one is more of a peachy shade. But there isn't an awful lot of difference, even though one is pink and one is peach. When I put them on my cheeks, I don't think they're very different. So buying these two together was not the best move on my part, but they were the only two I really wanted. So I think it looks quite pinky. So there it is if I let it really show the pigment, and then you can see a little bit more of the peach. So you can now see the difference between the two, but it's not great, is it? It's not a huge difference. So I wouldn't get both, but I do like the difference between the two. I'm confusing myself in what I'm saying now. It's a subtle difference, but it is a lovely, it is a difference that's big enough for me to think maybe I do not regret it now. I don't know, they are very similar. What do you think? I definitely wouldn't pick up both. I wouldn't advise to pick up both anyway, but I'm actually quite glad I did now. There we are. I just went round the houses with that, didn't I? Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? It just sits beautifully. It does not exaggerate texture at all. It has a bit of a blurring effect as well. I really like it. So I'm going to take this highlight shade. It's just going to have exactly the same effect because they are pretty much the same. So this is the shimmer from the pink Incompatibles, and this is the shimmer that I've just put on now from the peachy one. So there are differences. This one is a bit deeper in the Incompatibles, but there's not a vast difference. So there we have the Incompatibles side and the Feel the Heat side. And that is without powder, and it really doesn't feel at all tacky. It's not bone dry, but it really is not tacky at all. My hair will not stick to my face. It's very comfortable. So it does dry down, but not in a, it doesn't seem to be to a total powder. I don't know if that's the concept because there's little information around for me to read on this, but because it doesn't seem powdery, it's still got quite a sort of glow, hasn't it? So, but it's definitely not tacky, which is brilliant. But I will compare a few shades for you from blushes I've tried this year. So let's look at this pink one. And I've got the Totally Synced here from MAC, which is a new shade in their Glow Play. This is going to be a lighter pink, I think. Yeah, it's definitely more pigment and more of a deeper pink there. But the formula is quite similar because the MAC dries down very quickly to a sort of powder in exactly the same way. So they are applying and looking very similar in formula to me. And I've got Piggy and the Road Beauty. Now this one is a lot more pigmented. This one doesn't have the same sort of dry down. It does act, it's not particularly sticky either though. It is very comfortable. It just doesn't have that instant dry down. So Piggy's a little bit more pigmented and takes a little bit longer to dry down, and slightly different shades. But if you're going to rub this in, I think this Piggy might be a closer match to the Rabanne shade. But all three are different. So here is the Rabanne Peach, and I've got the MAC Glow Play, and this is in That's Peachy. It definitely looks like it's got more of an orange in it. Actually no, they're quite close, aren't they? Yeah, so if you've got the one from MAC, you've already got this shade by the looks of it. And again, very similar finishes. I've got the Road Blush in Spicy Marg. Now this is almost certainly going to be different from what I remember. Yeah, this has got a much more of a coral, almost a bit of red in it. It's a lovely shade actually. So it's a very different shade, and again, like we said earlier, not quite as much of a dry down. And I do have all of the ones from Charlotte Tilbury that came out this year, and not many of them look like they're likely to match up. But this one is called Beach Peach Glow. So I thought we'd compare this. So this is in the Beautiful Skin Island Glow Lip and Cheek formula. So this one has a slightly darker peach to it, doesn't it? Not a huge difference. But this has definitely got a different finish, even though this one is not particularly tacky either, but this one doesn't dry down as well as the MAC and this new one from Rabanne, because they really do feel quite dry to touch, those two. See how they're just not really been affected too much. They are slightly moving when I touch them, but this one here from Rode is quite not sticky, but it's definitely not drying down, and certainly the one from Charlotte Tilbury is the most tacky, I'd say, out of the four. Now, I really like the finish on both of these, and I wouldn't personally powder this down because it's not sticky. I don't feel the need to, and I really like the glow it's giving. So for that, it's a real winner for me, because a lot of these glowy blushes are too sticky for me, and I have to powder them down because I can't stand that sticky feeling, and I can't stand my hair sticking to my face during the day. But I also want to keep this look. So this is definitely a blush that will give me that. So it's an absolute winner from that point of view. But I am going to powder it down just in case you want to see how this applies on top of powder, because you might have wanted to have put your base down first, being powders such as a powder bronzer. So I'm going to powder over it, which has made it pretty much vanish. Now you could now go over it with a powder blush, and this can be a sort of base colour. And I'm going to show you the exact same blush now on top of the powder. I need to be even more careful with application this time, because I've already got that decent layer beneath, and also it just really packs more of a punch on top of powder. But it still blends really easily on top of powder. Not as easily as cream, but do you see how that just blends it out? So these are really, really versatile. So you can see here that if you had all your powders on and then you just want that little bit of a glowy blush to finish your look, but without the stickiness, it's going to give you exactly that. So now I'll go in with that shimmer again and just take it there. So there it is with the shimmer. It sits beautifully on powder. Honestly, super impressed with these formulas. I really, really am. I think if I hadn't got so many cream blushes this year already, I would probably go back and get the entire collection. That's how much I love this formula. So now taking the peachy shade on this side. Again, oops, I was going to say being careful, and clearly I've put too much on because that's not being really careful. But anyway, we will make this work. Then taking the highlighter from this palette, building up a little bit more so you can see it a bit more. Can you see the sort of brown effect I'm getting? I probably put it down too low there, but I wanted it to be almost like a cheek topper, because I'm really trying to get the colour to show up. I think they work together very nicely, but it should be a bit higher up here. So there we have each duo on top of powder, looking quite pigmented now, but that's mostly because I have the colour underneath, so it's like a double layer. But also because on top of powder you do definitely see more of the pigment, so really, really pretty, aren't they? So I'll finish the look with some Rabanne lipsticks, and I'm actually going to use a duo here. One is a chrome and one is a metal actually, so just make sure I've got the right one. So starting with this one is the chrome. They're both matte, and it's called the Rabanne Famous Matte Lip, and this is a red chrome. I'll show you how this looks if you really build it up. And this is a very rich colour for me. So I'm going to put quite a light cover of this all over the lips now. And I'm using my dense brush to soften this out. Now that can be built up into a much more pigmented shade, as you can see from the back of my hand. But that for me is just right, and I really do like it applied like this, and I don't think I need a liner with that. I think when you use the sort of dense brush, this is just an old eyeshadow brush, and you get right into the lines. You just don't need a liner, especially with a shade like this. And now I'm going to go in with the other one, and this one is called Metal Blossom. So here is Metal Blossom, and the way I like to use this is to put this in the middle. And I leave the edges, so it just gives a slightly pinky finish. It's a bit more shiny as well, and a bit lighter into the middle of the lips. I really like mixing those two together. So that is my full face of Rabanne. Nearly anyway, because I don't have their foundation. I did actually pick it up last year, but they discontinued it because of an issue in the processing, which they were very transparent about actually. I was very impressed with that because they actually rang me to say that they're withdrawing it because they want to alter the way that it's made. There was nothing wrong with it, they just weren't happy with the finish. So they offered me, if I sent it back, a full refund. And I said I was happy to keep it because it was actually quite good. I didn't use it today because it's been withdrawn, but I thought it was very good. So I said, don't worry, I don't want to send it back. I'm happy to keep it, so I don't want the refund. But that's when they actually sent me that light pink lipstick and a travel bag, and maybe that mascara I showed you. I got all of that, and they didn't explain it, but I'm guessing that was why. So I thought that was a really nice touch. So very, very transparent, honest brand. And really, that's got to be the best customer service I've ever had from a brand anyway. And everything I've tried from them so far, which other than the foundation you're now seeing on my face, I've absolutely loved. And these new cheek duos are fantastic. They really, really are. So I don't know why I didn't pick up more really of the lips and eyes, but I certainly would. The formula is absolutely stunning. So I might revisit them, or maybe see if they come out with anything else. If they come out with an autumn palette with different shades, I might pick that one up, or a Christmas one. So I'll be looking out for that. But I do really like this lip formula as well for a matte. It's not particularly drying. And yeah, I really like everything. I did say I'd go in with another coat of this mascara. So just see if I can get a little bit more length with coat number 2. I definitely think I got more length the second time around. What do you think? Can you see a bit more length? I do have the most pathetic eyelashes on the planet. They are a lot longer than they used to be thanks to my eyelash serum, but they're still not very long. But I definitely can see quite a bit of length looking in my mirror. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera. Yeah, very pleased with that actually. Anyway, what do you think of everything I've tried on today? Did you try Rabanne when they launched last year? What did you try if you did? I would love to hear if you've got any tips, because I am tempted to go back and get some more from the brand. And absolutely love these blushes, I really do. Top drawer. I don't think this formula is beatable from the ones I've tried this year. So at the moment, when it comes to cream formulas, this one and the one from Rhode are probably going to be my top 2 recommendations right now for cream blushes, because I love the fact they're not sticky. The Rhode one is a little bit more, like I said, but it does dry down quite well without being too sticky. This one dries down even more. Both super complementary to mature skin. It's not emphasising texture. I think they are stunning. I really do. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Did you pick it up before they sold out? If you were able to grab it really quickly, and if not, which one would you be looking at getting when they restock, which hopefully will be soon. I'm sure it'll be everywhere soon, because normally when it launches in Selfridges, it's everywhere else within about a month usually. So fingers crossed. But anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts on this brand, a brand I, as you can see, really do enjoy. Anyway, that's all from me. And if you're not liked and subscribed, please do. It's really helpful to my channel. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. As I said at the start of this video, you do mean the world to me, all of you. And I hope to see all of you for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.